We actually acquired this property back in February of this year, so it's fresh out of the chutes. We drilled the first 6 holes in May, and each of those 6 holes hit gold in the quartz vein, which is an extension of the historic workings that were mined in the 1890s to the 1930s. And then we went back with a core rig to get better definition on the intercepts that we had experienced with reverse circulation, and we were pleasantly surprised to get thicker zones at higher grade. In fact, the last hole we drilled was 7.5 feet or 2.3 meters at about 0.7 ounces per ton gold and silver. So it was really quite a good intercept.
Hello there, my friends. Chris Marcus here with you for Arcadia Economics. We are at the Reno Mining Show. I'm here with Greg Hahn, Arizona Silver Exploration, and obviously we have a big audience full of silver investors. So, Greg, great to catch up and spend some time today. And how's everything going so far at the conference?
Everything's going great. Thanks for showing some interest in us.
Well, I appreciate you having us here. Again, when we hear the word silver, maybe the world's biggest silver bug, I don't know yet, but why don't you tell folks about the company, what you guys have been up to, and how it is going so far?
Well, we launched Arizona Silver Exploration 3 years ago in the fall of 2016, and we started with a silver project down in Quartzsite, Arizona. We then advanced to some gold-silver projects because the market actually showed a lot more interest in gold plus silver than in just silver alone. So we now have 3 properties, one of which we're highlighting here at this conference, which is our Philadelphia project in northwest Arizona.
Right. And I know you guys just had some drill results come back on that one recently, and I bet you can share how those came back.
We can. We're very excited about that. We actually acquired this property back in February of this year, so it's fresh out of the chutes. We drilled the first 6 holes in May, and each of those 6 holes hit gold in the quartz vein, which is an extension of the historic workings that were mined in the 1890s to the 1930s. And then we went back with a core rig to get better definition on the intercepts that we had experienced with reverse circulation, and we were pleasantly surprised to get thicker zones at higher grade. In fact, the last hole we drilled was 7.5 feet or 2.3 meters at about 0.7 ounces per ton gold and silver. So it was really quite a good intercept.
Yeah, we've been hearing a lot of the good news, and I'm curious what led you to that particular location, and perhaps for folks who aren't as familiar with mining in Arizona, could touch on that a bit.
Well, there was a gold rush in Arizona back in the early 1980s, and I was part of that rush, but the company I was working for at the time was sort of the last man to get into the game, and as I saw all these opportunities, they were acquired by everybody else. So I just cataloged some of the best ones I remembered, and here we are, fast forward 40 years later, and I'm back in Arizona looking at some of the properties I looked at 40 years ago, and they were available, so we acquired them.
Yeah, and it's nice, especially when you have that experience, not just the drilling and looking, but the people that you meet and the different sources of insight you get, which I imagine over that time, 40 years of experience has been pretty helpful in getting you to the point where you have a nice set of results.
Well, and we have an incredible resource here in Arizona. We have the Arizona Geological Survey, which keeps a historic database that is available to the public, and you can go through the database. It takes time, but we do a lot of research looking through that database to look at some of the historic data that exists on some of these old properties. So that helps us fine-tune where we want to focus our effort and spend our money.
Right. And also on my right, if you can hop back in here, we have the businessman of the operation, Mike Stark. And Mike, how's everything been going for you at the conference?
It's been going very, very well. Thank you very much.
And what's the tone like from the folks you speak with? Obviously, you have some investors here, some new prospective investors. What have those conversations been like?
It's been very encouraging here, very encouraging. We have a very tight structure, which we've talked a little bit about, 34 million shares out and absolutely no warrants at this time. And we've weathered through a very tough 2 years, and we've come out, I think, in a very encouraging position now, especially with the Philadelphia property showing great promise. I really like where we are.
Yeah, and in terms of financings, perhaps if you could give a history of what the company's done. You mentioned the share structure a little bit. I know you guys have largely company and family owned, so if you could talk about that for folks.
I'm really proud of this. Actually, our company structure right now is about 61% is owned by family, close friends, and close associates. Some of the biggest shareholders are management themselves, and that in itself tells me that we're on the right track. I mean, we believe in what we're doing, and we have great credibility. Greg has done a fantastic job of finding what we believed was there, now proving it. I like the odds on the next set of drill holes. If we do 3 or 4 more holes and go down dip now, and we find what's now 500 feet down, I'm really excited about what we're going to have here.
Yeah, I always imagine what it's like when you've done all the preparation. It's not like you just wake up one day and start drilling, but all those steps and years and education that goes into it. What's it like when you're waiting for the drill results to come back to see what all of this came out to?
You really want to know? Honestly, obviously my confidence is high working with Greg, but at the same time, you don't know. Mother Nature can throw a lot of curveballs, but successfully now we're 9 for 9, and I don't like saying that because I know Greg has a real opposition to that. We will have an error at some point, maybe, but if we hit again, that is a really good ability of knowing what's going on. We're taking risk out of the game right now. We're drilling small holes. We're stepping out. Now's the time to go down and test that deep level. If we're right, our share structure is looking dynamite to move this really way up in value. And that's what we do. We're all about shareholders.
Right, and Mike or Greg, you can tell me who wants to take this one, but maybe we could look at both sides where what's the best case if everything goes perfectly and the results come as hoped? What does that look like? And also, what are some of the hurdles that could provide a challenge? And who wants to take this one?
I'll take that one. We actually have a historic gold mining district in our backyard. It's called the Oatman District, and there were over 2 million ounces of gold mined from the Oatman District. Really about half and half from 2 different veins. I think what our objective is be able to demonstrate we have a similar type of resource in our vein, and which would be about 1 million ounces plus of gold. And we see similarities to the Oatman vein structure, which is really what we're looking for. That's why we're where we are, and our drilling has so far indicated we're on the right track. I think this next round of drilling is going to be pretty interesting because if we bang into the boiling zone, which is where the precious metals precipitate, we will be on our way to achieving that goal.
Right. And in terms of hurdles that could come up?
Well, we're on BLM ground, which is favorable for permitting purposes, so that's not a hurdle. We have good access. That's not a hurdle. Really, what we're facing is what is going to come out of the drill rig, and that is how many tons will we find at what grade. We know from the historical production there, it has excellent metallurgical extraction, so that's not a hurdle. So we really only have the risk of what's the tons and grade from the result of our drilling.
And congratulations, because that's a nice spot to be in and a nice zone to reach. Perhaps, Mike, one last question for you that for folks at home, I know you've been doing this for a long time, obviously different ranges of experience, but let's say you're looking at another project. What are some of the things that you look for that maybe folks at home could then extrapolate and look at Arizona Silver? What's a good thing to evaluate in a project?
Well, that's a great question, first of all. One of the things I do as an investor is I want to know what the structure is all about, first of all. Then does management have any skin in the game? All right? What's the executional rate of that company's management team? Have they done this before? Yes, they have. Have they built a mine before? Yes, they have. We start ticking boxes when we do things like that. And in this case, I'm flattered. We're in a very strong position there. Management obviously has a very large position. We want to prove this up. Do we want to develop this? No. But we do want to hand it off to a major. And I think the opportunity lies here. I mean, if this mineralization is there, it's a very easy way to go about it. We're proving it up for a lot of these majors that they can just come in, wrap a ribbon on it, and take it away.
Okay, so that is the exit strategy.
Yeah.
Okay, and perhaps in wrapping up, just how can folks find you and get more information, find out more about the project?
Oh, great answer. Our answer to that is simple. AZS, and it's listed on the TSX Venture Exchange. Our website has all our recent information and data on it. Personal phone call. I take them gladly. 604-833-4278. It's a direct cell to me. I'm always on it, always available. And email as well, mstark@arizonasilverexploration.com.
And Mike, I can confirm that it's been great getting in touch with you. You're easy to reach. You have information, and great to catch up with you in person. Greg, thanks.
Thanks very
And
much.
we'll look forward to following your success.
Thank you.